Lassie Farm here. This is chapter 2 of The Merchant and the Alchemist's Gate, written by Ted Chiang. Continuing the story. Basharat looked at me and considered. I have recently built something that may change your opinion. You would be the first person I have shown it to. Would you care to see it? It would be a great pleasure. Please follow me. He led me through the doorway in the rear of his shop. The next room was a workshop, arrayed with devices whose functions I could not guess. Bars of metal wrapped with enough copper thread to reach the horizon. Mirrors mounted on a circular slab of granite, floating in quicksilver. But Basharat walked past these without a glance. Instead, he led me to a sturdy pedestal, chest high, on which a stout metal hoop was mounted upright. The hoop's opening was as wide as two outstretched hands, and its rim so thick that it would tax the strongest man to carry. The metal was black as night, but polished to such smoothness that, had it been a different color, it could have served as a mirror. Basharat bade me stand so that I looked upon the hoop edgewise while he stood next to its opening. Please observe, he said. Basharat thrust his arm through the hoop from the right side, but it did not extend out from the left. Instead, it was as if his arm were severed at the elbow, and he waved the stump up and down and then pulled his arm out intact. I had not expected to see such a learned man perform a conjurer's trick, but it was well done, and I applauded politely. Now wait a moment, he said as he took a step back. I waited, and behold, an arm reached out of the hoop from its left side without a body to hold it up. The sleeve it wore matched Basharat's robe. The arm waved up and down and then retreated through the hoop until it was gone. The first trick I had thought a clever mime, but this one seemed far superior, because the pedestal and hoop were clearly too slender to conceal a person. Very clever, I exclaimed. Thank you, but this is not mere sleight of hand. The right side of the hoop precedes the left by several seconds. To pass through the hoop is to cross that duration instantly. I do not understand, I said. Let me repeat the demonstration. Again, he thrust his arm through the hoop, and his arm disappeared. He smiled and pulled back and forth as if playing tug of rope. Then he pulled his arm out again and presented his hand to me with the palm open. On it lay a ring I recognized. That is my ring! I checked my hand and saw that my ring still lay on my finger. You have conjured up a duplicate. No, this is truly your ring. Wait. Again, an arm reached out from the left side. Wishing to discover the mechanism of the trick, I rushed over to grab it by the hand. It was not a false hand, but one fully warm and alive as mine. I pulled on it, and it pulled back. Then, as deft as a pickpocket, the hand slipped the ring from my finger, and the arm withdrew into the hoop, vanishing completely. My ring is gone, I exclaimed. No, my lord, he said, your ring is here. And he gave me the ring he held. Forgive me for my game. I replaced it on my finger. You had the ring before it was taken from me. At that moment, an arm reached out, this time from the right side of the hoop. What is this? I exclaimed. Again, I recognized it as his by the sleeve before it withdrew, but I had not seen him reach in. Recall, he said, the right side of the hoop precedes the left. And he walked over to the left side of the hoop and thrust his arm through from that side, and again it disappeared. Your Majesty has undoubtedly already grasped this, but it was only then that I understood. Whatever happened on the right side of the hoop was complemented a few seconds later by an event on the left. "Is this sorcery?" I asked. "No, my lord. I've never met a genie, and if I did, I would not trust it to do my bidding. This is a form of alchemy." He offered an explanation, speaking on his search for tiny pores in the skin of reality, like the holes that worms bore into wood, and how upon finding one he was able to expand and stretch it the way a glass blower turns a dollop of molten glass into a long-necked pipe, and how he then allowed time to flow like water at one mouth while causing it to thicken like syrup at the other. I confess I did not really understand his words and cannot testify to their truth. All I could say in response was, "You have created something truly astonishing." "Thank you," he said, "but this is merely a prelude to what I intended to show you." He bade me follow him into another room, farther in the back. There stood a circular doorway whose massive frame was made of the same polished black metal, mounted in the middle of the room. What I showed you before was a gate of seconds. This is a gate of years. The two sides of the doorway are separated by a span of 20 years. And we'll leave it there and take this up again tomorrow. Thanks for listening.